This is Midrash Tanchuma Haazinu / Yom Kippur, entitled The Bride Who Stood Up to the Angel of Death. The Midrash has a very unusual story that seems to have nothing to do with the Parsha, but I have a hunch as to what it's about. Let me first share with you the story. It's a story of two brothers. One brother has 10 sons, and they work very, very hard logging, and they just can't make it, struggling all the time to put food on the table. The oldest son really sees the look of despair in his father's face, and it hurts him very much. The other brother lives on the other side of the world. He has only one child, a beautiful daughter, but she had a tragedy in that 3 times she got married and 3 times her husband died the wedding night. And so it became abundantly clear to her that she cannot get married. But on the other side of the world, the oldest son felt that he can't take the pain anymore, so he decided to travel to his uncle, see if he can help out the family somehow. And he shows up and he's welcomed very warmly, and he spends time and he falls in love with his cousin, his beautiful cousin. And he works up the courage and he announces his intentions that he loves her and he wants to marry her. Of course, there's dead silence. And his uncle says, listen, we would love to have you in the family, but you don't really understand what happened, let me tell you. And he's not deterred. And he wants to marry her. And he pushes very hard, and the bride agrees. And so they go on with the wedding. As the wedding starts, someone comes up to the groom, who the Midrash identifies as Eliyahu Navi. And he says, listen, there's a very unsightly old man that's going to show up. Treat him kindly, put him on the front, on the head table, give him a lot of food, be nice to him. And sure enough, a very unsightly man does show up. Terrible manners, and despite all, the groom works up the courage to talk to him and invite him and be warm to him and say, hey, come sit down, I'm going to get you all the meals that you missed and take care of you. After the wedding is over, that unsightly man comes up to the groom, pulls him to the side and says, come sit down in this room, I want to talk to you. He says, I am the angel of death. I'm sorry, you're coming with me now. And the groom says, are you kidding? Can I just have the week of Sheva Brachot with my wife? He says, no, you can't. What about one night? No. Well, can I at least say goodbye to her? She's across the hall in another room. He says, I'll grant you that. So he goes across the hall, whispers in his ear of his new bride, and she says, you stay here, I'm going to go talk to him. She goes in there, and she's very determined, and she says, it says in the Torah that a man must gladden the heart of his wife for a year. In fact, he's even exempt from war, from a milchemet reshut for a year, because he must gladden the heart. That's what it says in the Holy Torah. What you're asking now is a violation of the Torah. And I'm going to take you to court, to a heavenly court, if you don't leave immediately. And her prayer breaks through and shakes the heavens, and God tells the Malach HaMavet to leave. The bride and groom go back to her parents' home, and in the middle of the night, the parents get up and they dig a grave, because this is what they're used to doing, assuming, why should this time be any different? But yet in the morning, they hear the couple laughing to themselves and happy, and they're astounded. And they're so happy, and there's a big celebration, and that's how the story ends. What does this story have to do with anything? I think the answer is simple. I think the Midrash is saying, pray hard on Yom Kippur. Pray for your life. Have a relationship with God such that you can feel it. You can say anything to God. You can spill out your heart. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the story is about. Have a great Shabbos.